Good evening and welcome back to another Teams Elite series. I'm Smita and I'm the owner for Microsoft React. I'm here with our very own host, Kamal, and of course, our special guest speakers, Nanddeep and Smith. But before we start today's session, I would request you all to read our code of conduct. We are all here to learn together, so please be respectful of other people's views, understanding of differences, being kind and considerate in the way you engage. The chat section is open throughout, and we do encourage you all to participate. The speaker will answer all your questions during the session, so please feel free to drop all your questions in the chat section. With this, let me bring in Kamal into the stream.
Hey
Hey, hi
Rashmita, how are you
Kamal, how
doing?
are you?
All good. How about
I'm
you?
doing good. How are you?
Absolutely fine.
All
Thank you
good.
so
Super
much.
excited for today's session. And
Indeed.
with this, thank you all once again. Enjoy the session, and over to you, Kamal.
Thanks, Rashmita. All right, folks, what's up? Welcome to another session of Teams Allied, and in which today we have an interesting session on Teams Toolkit Tuesday. So, thank you so much for your overwhelming response from the last season, in which Shruti and Siddharth, the MVPs, actually spoke about tabs, how to create, build, deploy. So, we had this entire 1 hour session on the Teams Toolkit Tuesday, where they went completely into the each and every step in building a tab app on Teams using Teams Toolkit. So I'll leave a link in the description. So if you've missed the session, you can find the recording on the YouTube. Yeah, today we are kind of going to touch base on a very interesting and yet challenging topic, which is bot. I'm sure the usage of bot has increased over the few years, right? Post pandemic, or because of these AI and a lot of manual work getting reduced, right? So if you ask me what's this general definition about a bot, it doesn't do anything complicated or sophisticated. It's very simple. It just follows a specific instructions to imitate human behavior, right? But in a faster and more accurate way. Sometimes bot can also run independently without human intervention. So every application you see, you open a website, you open an app, you open any kind of application that kind of serves you, you have a bot implemented and used. And the usage is growing really fast. The requirements are kind of increasing. So we thought, okay, when bot is something very important, why don't we come up with the Microsoft Learn of introducing this module in the Learn path, where it exclusively covers how to use Teams Toolkit for Visual Studio Code to build a bot for Microsoft Teams. That's the theme of today's topic. So, without further ado, let me introduce to two amazing speakers who are going to share a complete session on bot with a demo and example and their experience working on bots. So, first we have Nanddeep. Nanddeep is a three times Microsoft MVP, and he has experience working with various Microsoft technologies like SharePoint, Azure, .NET, design, implementation, and I can keep on going. His experience actually talks about it. And I also have Smitha, who's a two-time MVP in M365 category. She's a certified trainer, author with almost 14 plus years of experience, again with the special categories in M365, including three SharePoint, Teams, Platform, Groups, Yammer. She loves interacting with people, and kind of she's an organizing. She speaks at various events. So she's like the part of global Microsoft 365 developer bootcamp, Power Platform. I would say she's an active contributor in Microsoft 365 community. So definitely I'll leave their social handles for connecting, so follow them. If you have any questions you would like to connect with them, please feel free to do that. So the stage is all yours, Nandeep. Go ahead, and good luck, guys.
Yeah, thank you very much for having us, and thank you very much for that introduction. Let me share my screen. Please confirm whenever you can see my screen. Just trying to share it. All right. Hopefully, you should be able to see my screen now, right? Okay. So, hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of Teams Toolkit, wherein we'll be talking more about how to build bots with Teams Toolkit. Okay. So, bots are nothing new to everyone. Bots are kind of an exciting part, and they are part of our, or maybe integral part of our journey, or maybe our life. So every day we interact with various bots, be it any of the website, or even be it as at enterprise. So at the enterprise level, we kind of interact with bots using Microsoft Teams. And then again, I know that in your organization as well, there might be various bots that have been installed, and you might be interacting with that. But doesn't it sound very much interesting that even you can build this kind of an bots with very less amount of code, at least the basic bots? But yeah, if you want to develop some kind of an professional bots, obviously there is a coding needed. But this is a place wherein Teams Toolkit pitch in, and then we are able to create those kind of an very simple but powerful kind of an bots. So quickly talking about this team toolkit, it is kind of an extension available with Visual Studio Code or Visual Studio 2022, and it helps developer to create and deploy various kind of an Microsoft Teams app, including bot tab and everything that you can do for Microsoft Teams. So with this Teams toolkit, we are going to see today like how we'll be able to create the bots. Again, not just bot is not just the one thing, but again there are different types of bots, different types of scenarios wherein we'll be able to go ahead and use those bots. So we are going to explore more about bots, what are the types of bots, in which kind of a situation which bots to use, and again what kind of an pros and cons of using in any of the bot. And then again we will also going into the demo to see how we will be able to go ahead and create those bots using Teams toolkit. All right, so this is the agenda that we are going to cover over next 1 hour. So we'll have a quick overview of bot. I know that as of now everyone knows what is meant by bot, but we will just take it to the technical level. We will explore like what types of bots available, when to use, and what are the pros and cons. And then we will shift the gears towards Teams Toolkit. We will see how we'll be able to go ahead use this Teams Toolkit to develop the bots, deploy them to Microsoft Azure as well as Microsoft 365 using a tool called as Teams Toolkit for Visual Studio Code. Again, we will build those various types of bots and then deploy them to the Microsoft Azure. Quickly before we start, myself Nanddeep Nachan, I'm Microsoft MVP for M365 Apps and Services, belongs to Pune, India, and then I'm author of 3 books covering SharePoint framework, SharePoint hybrid, as well as Viva connection. And if you want to get in touch with us, these are the social media handlers through which you will be able to go ahead and have a connect with me. And with me today is Smita.
Hello all, myself Smita Nasar. I am having total 14 plus years of experience in M365 category. I am a Microsoft MVP, 2 times Microsoft MVP for M365 development category. Apart from that, I am a Microsoft certified trainer. These are 2 of my books, which are co-authored with Nanddeep Nachan and published with A Press. And these are some of my social handlers by which you can just get in touch with me. So let's see first about this bot overview. So for example, if you are not familiar with the bot, then the bot is one of the types of extensibility points in Microsoft Teams. So bots are often used in messaging or chat applications. Also, they provide a wide range of services such as answering a frequently asked questions, providing a real-time updates and notification, or assisting with the system transactions. So they can understand command and reply or perform a task in a conversational way. So let's say in a customer support scenario, you can use a bot for any of the purpose like notify the support engineers with a team spot when there is a new customer support ticket. Also, you can send a reminder to a support engineer about the status of their assigned tickets with a Microsoft Teams bot. So let's see this Teams toolkit for Visual Studio Code. So the Teams toolkit for Visual Studio Codes requires some setup and a configuration before you can start to build your app. So to start building and debugging apps for Microsoft Teams, you need to install the Microsoft Teams Toolkit extension. And the extension helps you to build and debug your Teams apps locally. So you can also use it for deploying your Teams app to hosting the services such as Microsoft Azure. Then we can just build bots using a Teams toolkit for Visual Studio Code also. So a bot, commonly called a chatbot, communicates with the users through the conversations. Users interact with bots by sending and receiving the messages through a chat interface. So bots are highly flexible and can be installed in many locations in Microsoft Teams such as chats, channels, meetings, and the personal apps. So, when a bot receives a message from a user, it can respond with a text, an interactive card, or an open dialogue. So, bots can also proactively send the text or interactive cards to user. The Teams Toolkit for Visual Studio Code extensions supplies several scenario based app templates for building a bot. So, the notification bot scenario based app template creates a bot that can be triggered to send a proactive notifications to Microsoft Teams. And a proactive message is a message sent in response to an external event or a trigger. So let's see these components for building a bot. So to develop a bot for Teams, you need a web server to host and run the bot code, an Azure web an Azure bot service to make the bot available to Teams, an Azure Active Directory, which is also known as the Azure AD app to register the bot with Microsoft Cloud, then an HTTP tunnel service to supply a publicly accessible URL for the local endpoints that use to receive messages from the bot service. So for the HTTP tunneling, you can use the famous tool ngrok. So for example, if you cannot use ngrok organization, then you can also think to use the dev tunnels, a Microsoft Teams app package to deploy the bot into Microsoft Teams. So this package has the app manifest file which describes the bot capabilities and where the bot can be installed like a chat, channels, meeting, personal app. So the Teams toolkit for Visual Studio Code handles the complexity of creating and configuring the resources needed to develop a bot. So when you run the bot for the first time, it performs some of the steps like verifies and install the prerequisites, starts an instance of the ngrok HTTP tunnel service, then it creates an Azure Active Directory app registration, it creates an Azure bot service registration, compiles the bot code and start a local web server. It generates a Teams app package, deploys the app package to Teams, then starts a debugging session and opens a browser window and goes to the Teams web client and display an app installation dialog. Now let's see this notification bot in Teams. So the Microsoft Teams toolkit enables you to build applications that captures the events and send them as a notification to a personal group chat or a channel in Teams. So you can send the notifications as a plain text or the adaptive cards. So the notification bot templates creates an app that sends a message to Teams with adaptive cards triggered by HTTP post request. So, for example, in a scenario where a travel agency builds an app in Microsoft Teams for their customers to keep them up to date with the weather forecast. So, in a diagram, you can see a Teams app that sends the notification to the travelers about the destination weather forecast. So, some of the advantages over here, it facilitates the notifications to a personal group chat and in a channel. It enhances user experience by customizing the notification with an adaptive card. Also, it provides a multiple mechanisms to trigger the notification, such as HTTP and schedule a timer trigger with Azure functions.
Okay, so now that we are just going to go into the demo and see how we'll be able to go ahead and create the notification bots in Teams. So as you can see here that we have any of the external system which can trigger any kind of an events, and then again we do have teamsbot. So teamsbot will get those triggers, and teamsbot will be able to process those, and then it will just send out a message maybe in the form of adaptive cards to our users. Okay, so we are just going to firstly see how we can go ahead create those notification bot, and then we will see also how we'll be able to send those proactive messages to Microsoft Teams. So for that, let me go into my development environment, and now that let us start by creating a bot with the Teams Toolkit. So for that, firstly, we need to open up the Visual Studio Code. So I'm just going on to a location which is the empty location on my machine, and we are just going to create one solution out of it. So once I open up the Visual Studio, onto the left hand side here you can see various extensions which are available, and Teams Toolkit is nothing but an extension inside Microsoft Visual Studio. So if in case you do not see it, you just have to go ahead and add this as a widget, or add this as a plugin, and then once you do that you will be able to go ahead and start using that. Okay, so now that you can see that I already have installed this Teams Toolkit as a plugin here, so I will be able to go ahead and start using it. Okay, so if in case you cannot see it, you just have to find out um, that Teams Toolkit and get it installed into the Visual Studio. Okay, so once I open up this, you can see that we have various options here. For example, documentation, which one will take you to the documentation, which will help you to go ahead and create your first app with Microsoft Teams. So be it tab, bot, or any kind of a messaging extension. So this is a nice place to start by developing any kind of a Teams app with Teams Toolkit. The second thing is how-to guides. So if in case you're not pretty much sure like how to go ahead and start using this Team Toolkit, you can make use of this kind of a guided or scenario guides, through which you'll be able to go ahead and create create the bots or apps based on the template that you see here. So for example, initiate any kind of a sequential workflow in Teams, or maybe respond to chat commands in Teams. So all those scenarios are covered. So now that, let's say for example, if you want to start from scratch, you can go ahead and start creating a new app. At the same time, we have got option to view samples. So once you click on view samples, all of the samples which are readily available, that you will be able to go ahead and use. So let's say for example, you want to use Teams app with Azure backend, you can start with this particular sample. Or maybe if you want to contact the explorer exporter using graph toolkit, even all those samples are here. So let's say for example, if you have a specific scenario in your mind and there is a sample available for that, even you can just click on that sample, and then you will be able to go ahead and get started. Now that we just want to go ahead and create some kind of a notification bot, so I will just click on new app here. We'll just click on create new Teams app, and then from here we have all of the types of applications that can be created for Microsoft Teams using Visual Studio Code. So here at the top you can see notification bot, command bot, workflow bot. These are the types of bots that we are going to explore during this session. At the same time, even it is not just limited to bot, but you will be also able to go ahead and create tabs as well as messaging extensions. All those kind of functionalities are available. So to keep it simple, we will start with the notification bot. So notification bot is just based on the simple concept that there is an event happening onto the external site, or maybe external to Microsoft Teams, and then that event will be sent to your Microsoft Teams, and then Microsoft Teams will react to that event, and then Miss Microsoft Teams bot will react to that event, and then it will simply send out that information which has happened onto that external event by sending the adaptive card. Okay, so now that here we see various options. Let's say for example, HTTP trigger, which is running onto the Restify server, so which is hosted as an Azure app service which can listen to any kind of an HTTP request. Secondly, we also have got HTTP trigger, which is running onto the Azure function. So let's say for example, how you want to go ahead and host all those kind of functionalities, you can either select the HTTP trigger as the Azure function or the Restify server. At the same time, for example, if you are looking out for some kind of an triggering functionality which can trigger that particular event on a timely basis, you can go ahead select this option, which is a timer trigger. So simply what this is mean by at that at a specific kind of an schedule, at specific kind of an interval, that particular trigger will will generate, and then it will send out the notification to your Teams bot, and then Teams bot can interact with that. So let's say, for example, you're working on the stock updates. So for that stock updates, probably you can have this timer trigger which is running at maybe 5 minutes or 1 minute, that can go ahead, get the information from the external web service about the stocks which are getting updated, and then send out that as a notification on the Teams bot, and then bot can show that as an adaptive card to your users. Okay, so that is one kind of an use case that can be built with this kind of an functionality. Again, if you want to mix both of this, you can go ahead and use this HTTP and timer trigger, which are hosted onto the Azure function. So for the simplicity, what we are going to do is we are just going to use this HTTP trigger, which is based on the RESTify server. So for example, if we develop this and whenever we want to go ahead host it on Microsoft Azure, we will have to go ahead and host it on Azure App Service. Okay, so let us go ahead with that. Once we do that, we have got two programming language options. So based on your comfort zone, either you can go ahead with JavaScript or TypeScript. So let's say we'll go ahead with the TypeScript, and then from here we will be able to go ahead and specify the folder wherein we want to place those solutions. So I can just browse to this location, and we will we are to that location where the solution will be placed. Now that we need to give the application name to your bot, and then whenever we are giving it, maybe give it very correctly, so that this is the default name that one will appear to your users when they will go ahead and install that bot. So let's say, for example, I will just call it as a notification bot demo. Not a good name, but at least good for a demo. Okay, so I'll just go ahead, hit enter, and at the bottom here you can see that the scaffolding process has started, and it has created or scaffolded this new project, and we do have this Visual Studio Code another instance opening up that project. So from here you can see that this one gives you the nicely documented information about that particular sample or that particular bot, or maybe if you are creating a app or tab, in that case it will give the nice documentation. So this one will give the entire information about how this particular bot will work, or how this particular functionality will work. So there are certain prerequisites that at least you will need Node.js version 14, 16, or 18, or as well you will also need the Microsoft 365 account for your development. So if in case you do not have the Microsoft 365 account, in that case you can go ahead and register for the Microsoft 365 developer tenant, which one will get which one will get to you for 3 months, and then again it can be extended based on your usage. Again, this particular README file, the markdown file, will give you the entire information about what kind of an folders, what kind of an files that we have here, and then what kind of a significance of each of these files and folders. So if you compare those side by side, here we have got fx folder, .fx folder, which one just contains the configurations, all those kind of an project level settings, configuration, as well as the environment information we are able to see here. So let's say, for example, if I open it thus, here we have Azure parameters. So for example, whenever we will go ahead with the provisioning of this bot to Azure, all of these parameters will be populated. Or let's say, for example, if you want to go ahead and change that one as well, you will be able to do that. So now that you can see that here we have the resource based name as notification something like that, and then some kind of a number and later combination. So this is the resource name or the resource based name that one will be used to provision all of the needed resources, for example, Azure app service or maybe Azure bot, and then all of those resources will start with this particular name. If you want to change this, if you want to have some meaningful name here, go ahead and replace this parameter, and then all of the resources which are getting provisioned into the Azure, they will start with this name. So this Teams Toolkit will take care of everything right from the development, debugging, deployment, all those things for you. Okay, so you don't need to worry too much about relying on an admin to go ahead and provision the resources for you, or maybe again list down what kind of resources you will need. Everything will be taken care by Microsoft Teams Toolkit. The second kind of a file that we have got here is configuration dev JSON. So whenever you are kind of developing the solution, obviously you will go ahead and deploy that to Microsoft Teams. At that point, what kind of an application name you want to go ahead and use. So this is the name which I was talking about. So based on the name that you give for this project or this bot, when you will provision that for the first time, that name will appear there itself. And again, if you don't like it, you can always go ahead and change it from here. So this is the name that will appear for you when you will open up that bot or that app inside Microsoft Teams. So name it correctly for your users to easily find it out as well as use them. Okay. The other configuration file that we have got here is for the local debugging purpose. So again, Teams Toolkit give you that flexibility so that you can run this application without being installed it on anywhere. So you don't need to install it on Azure, or you don't need to install it on Microsoft Teams. This one will give you that kind of an experience that you will be able to go ahead and use this functionality on your local. Okay, so no deployment or no prerequisites needed for this. Then we do have these project settings. So all of the settings which are needed, for example, if this is a bot, what kind of an resources it will need, what kind of an plugins it will need, all that information you will be able to find it here. So this one is about just the configurations folders that we have got inside of this fx folder. Then we have got this VS code folder, which is specifically for your local debugging. So let's say, for example, if I open up this launch.json, here you can see few of the run profiles. So let's say, for example, we'll be able to run this application with Microsoft Edge, or maybe with Google Chrome, or maybe with other profiles that you can go ahead and create. Okay, so even you can create your own run profile, add it here, so that whenever you will go ahead run this particular application, you will get that into a settings. We'll see it in a demo in a while, but all those settings are driven from here. Then we have got settings.json, which is nothing but just the which is just nothing but reference to all of the files that we have got, the other files, other JSON files inside of this project. Then we have got task.json. So since this one is an npm or node.js based kind of an system, you can go ahead and also define your own task here. So as like, you can go ahead and define your own gulp task. You can also do the same thing in Teams Toolkit. You can go ahead and define your own gulp task to maybe debug your application, to deploy your application, or maybe just run your application. So this is one of the um, specific folder that we have got for the local debugging purpose. Then we have got this bot folder. So this bot folder contains all of the code that is being hosted as a bot onto Microsoft Teams. So inside of this, we have got src, which is a source folder. And again, in the source folder, here you can see we have index.ts, which is the application entry point. And again, maybe all of the restify handlers for your notification. So if I open up this index.ts file, you don't need to worry too much about this. But what will happen whenever I will go ahead and run this bot, at least it will just make one post request to this API/notification, and then all of the requests which are coming to that particular endpoint, it will be able to go ahead and get all those notifications and process it further. So this is nothing but entry point to your application, to your bot. The second type of file that we have here is maybe card models. So for example, whenever you are working with bot, the bot has got certain functionality. Let's say, for example, you want to show the weather information, or if you want to show the employee information. So you need to create that as a model, show it to your users. So this card model will give you that kind of a functionality through which you will be able to create those model in memory, and then you will be able to attach that to a JSON based template, which we also call this as a adaptive cards. Okay, so you will be able to bind this data from these objects to the adaptive card. So this is the significance of having these card models. Then we have got folders here called as internal, which is again for the configuration purpose. Here we can have the bot ID, bot password. So if you have created the bot in the past manually, you can see that we need to go ahead, register the bot into the Azure portal. We need to get the bot ID, bot password, all those things. But with Teams Toolkit, we don't need to go into those complexities. Teams Toolkit will handle it everything for us. Okay, so that is the beauty of using the Teams Toolkit. And then we do have initialized TS file, which one will just act as an entry point to your bot, which can go ahead and initialize your bot with this particular app ID, app password, and then this one will be by default added as the multi-tenant bot. The other kind of things that we have got here is adaptive card. So this is the adaptive card which will be shown to you when your application will be launched. So whenever you will have some kind of an information, this particular adaptive card will get that information and it will show it to you. For example, if you compare this adaptive card or this notification default JSON with the card model that we had. So here you can compare that side by side, that we have a title here which is being shown here. We have an app name which is being shown on line number 15. We do have a description here which is being shown onto the adaptive card, and again we do have this notification URL. So as I said, this card model is nothing but your model or your information that you want to show to your users from your bot. And then at the runtime, adaptive cards will use this JSON and then use the data from this card model object to embed into that and show it to your users. Okay, so this is how that information will look like. If I scroll it a bit up, so this is how the information will look like, where we have the title, we have some description, we have some buttons here as well. Okay, the other kind of things that we have here is or which we are probably going to detail bit later, but I just want to make you aware of that. So here we have got app packages. So here we have got manifest template JSON. So which gives, for example, again, if you are a Microsoft Teams developer, you have configured Microsoft Teams app, you have deployed it into Microsoft Teams or Microsoft Teams Admin Center. This one will look very much familiar to you, from where you'll be able to go ahead and create those manifest JSON. Okay, so again, creating that manifest JSON was a bit difficult in the earlier days, because you need to go ahead, start using that JSON, fill in the values at the correct place. But with Teams Toolkit, even this headache will be taken care by Teams Toolkit, and you just need to go ahead, specify the parameters, whatever you need for your icons, for your policy URL and all those things, and that app will be or that zip file will be ready for you, which you can go ahead and deploy to Microsoft Teams. Then we have got resources as well. So these are those PNG kind of files which will be shown to your users. So this bigger one file is the file which one will be shown as an app icon. And again, for example, if you're docking that particular icon or that particular app onto the Teams side panel, this is the outline.png, a smaller icon, that one will be shown. So whenever you will work for your organizational level apps or organizational level bots, this is a place where you need to make those changes. So based on the color scheme or maybe templating guidelines followed by your organization, you can go ahead, change this color outline and specify your own icons, so that this one will give you more branding to your app as well as to your bots. And then lastly, we have this Azure folder, which we are going to go into a detail towards end of the session. But this folder has all of those files through which you will be able to deploy this bot without even directly going to the Azure portal. Okay, so right from here itself, you should be able to go ahead and deploy this solution to Microsoft Azure. All right, so with that, what we will do is we will I just have click again onto this Teams toolkit from the left panel, so that we'll be able to go ahead and sign into Microsoft 365. So once I click here, it will prompt me to go ahead and sign in. If in case you don't have the Microsoft 365 tenant, you can just click here. It will guide you through the process through which you'll be able to go ahead and create a tenant for yourself. So let me just log in here. This is a simple process. It might ask you for a couple of times or maybe more to go ahead and log in. So now that you can see that I have logged in, even the side loading has been enabled onto my tenant, so that I can go ahead and upload the custom created apps or bots to my to my Teams. Okay, so now that what we need to do is we just need to go ahead and start debugging this app or start running this app, which is our bot. So these are all of those profiles which we were referring to. So here we have got profile for Edge, for Chrome, for launching remotely for Edge, Chrome, and other things. Even in the file which I had mentioned, you can also go ahead and create your own profile. So I'm just selecting this Chrome as a profile, and we will just click on this play icon. It might you might ask you again for the sign in, so just go ahead, do the signing, and that's it. So based on what kind of an cookies or other mechanisms that you follow as a setting for your browser, it might ask you for a couple of times. So if you want to see like what this one is doing in the background, onto the right hand side bottom you can see all of those functionality which are being done by this particular bot or this Teams toolkit. So as I said, we don't need to go ahead into the complex kind of a situation whenever we are dealing with Teams toolkit. So once you click this play icon or this start icon or F5, this one will take care of multiple things. Like this one will just verify whether you are meeting all those prerequisites. So for example, Node.js, is it installed onto your machine? If no, then it can also go ahead and install all those prerequisites for you. At the same time, it also needs ngrok or maybe dev tools to go ahead and start the http tunneling service for your local. So this one will just ensure that all those prerequisites are met. At the same time, if you just want to see what this one is doing, also keep a watch on this output window, which you can see in the background. I will just try to make it bigger. So now that you can see that this one is checking and installing the npm packages to my folder which is being here. So this one will go ahead, start installing all those npm packages to my folder. Again, it can go ahead and create that Azure ready app registration for me. It can create the Azure bot service registration for me without directly logging to the Azure portal. Because if you have previously created the bots or apps with Microsoft Teams, we had to first go ahead into the Azure portal, create those app registration, create the bot channels, and all those things. But with the Teams toolkit, we don't need to go into those details. Teams toolkit will take care of all those things for you. So based on the what kind of an functionality that you want to go ahead and create. So let's say now that we are creating this bot, so obviously this bot needs two things. First one is your or maybe three things. First one is your bot channel registration. Then this one also needs the Azure bot registration. Also it needs the app service that should be running behind the code. So based on what kind of a complex functionality that you have, as well as how much complex code you have written, the compilation, the dependencies, this one will take a time. So now that you can see that this one is at the third step of fifth, and this one is just updating the bot messaging endpoint. Okay, so if you remember in the past, we had to do all those things manually, but with Teams Toolkit, you can just click on the start button and that's it. You don't need to worry too much. And now you can see that this one has started executing all those tasks for you, all of those npm tasks which we had created onto our gulp. Okay, so now that it has done with everything, and this one will just ask you to go ahead and register or log into your portal. So let me just do that. Okay, and once we do that, that's it. Your app will be ready for you to go ahead and see it into the Microsoft Teams. So now that you must have seen that I did not do any kind of an complex coding. I did not do any kind of an complex deployment. Just that I had created this project using Teams Toolkit, and that's it. So the basic version is ready for us to go ahead and start using. Okay. So this is the window from where it will just prompt us to go ahead and deploy this bot. So again, while using this bot locally, not even we have it deployed yet, we get three options to go ahead and start using this bot. So either you can add it to a Teams, you can add it to a chat, or maybe you can add it to a meeting. So what I will do is I will just go ahead and add it as a personal app. So that means that one will be docked onto my left panel as a personal app, and then I will be able to go ahead and start using this bot. Okay, so now that you can see that this bot is ready, but only thing is like how to go ahead and invoke this bot. So we cannot directly go ahead and invoke this bot by using something kind of an at the rate mention or anything, because this one is a notification bot. So that means whenever something will happen into the external systems, that external system will go to that slash API slash notification endpoint that we just have seen into that startup file, and then from there this bot will kick started, and then this one will do the functionality. So to do that, what I will do is probably I will just open up the Windows PowerShell, and I will simply run some kind of a small command here, which is invoke hyphen web request. So this is the command which can help you to simply go ahead and okay, let me just give me one moment. Okay, so I just have to run this command, invoke hyphen web request. Okay, and we just need to use the method here called as post, because we need to go ahead and start hitting that endpoint which is running onto our bot. So again, for example, if you're not very much sure where that endpoint is, even from here you can locate where when it has started. So I know that this one works on the port called as 3978. So maybe you can just start. Yeah. So this is the port that I was mentioning about, which is 3978. So that means since this one is running onto the local, what we can do is I can simply go ahead and make a post to that http colon slash slash localhost colon 3978 slash API slash notification. Okay, so this is the endpoint that we want to go ahead and hit. So I'll just click on that, and that's it. So what has happened is now that there was an external event which had happened on this link, and you can see that we got the status code of 200. Okay, and these are all of the information about what is the event that had happened in the past. So simply now that we are invoking the bot from the external web service, or maybe from this PowerShell. At the same time, even if you want to pass on some information to this as a body, even you will be able to do that. So what has happened right now is that that particular bot was waiting for that notification to happen, and here you can see that this new event has occurred. Okay, so now that let's say I can again go back here into the code while it is running, and here we have got all of the code which is running, which can go ahead and run this. So this is the index.ts, the entry point for us. And again, we do have initialize.js. Again, we have this config.js, all those kind of thing. So whenever this one is running, if you want to go ahead, make some changes to your JSON file, even you will be able to do that. I'm just looking out for a file from where I will be able to go ahead and start making changes here. So let's say, uh, just give me one moment. Okay, not config. Okay, so this is the index.ts, which is the entry point for your bot. And then what can happen now is that you can see everything which you can see as an adaptive card there. It is being posted from this file. So now if I again go back, open up that bot, the message which has been sent as an adaptive card by that bot. So here you can see that the new event has occurred, which is being displayed here. The application name is Contoso app notification. Here is the description that we see here. And then again, we just have got one button which is being shown by that adaptive card. So even let's say, for example, if you go ahead and change this right now, so it will automatically go ahead, detect that particular change, and you can see that it has automatically compiled itself for the latest compilation. Once it builds, firstly it will not take much of the time. So now that let's say, for example, here you can see the message that bot has started and restify listening to the localhost 3978 port. Now that if I go back and again run this command, invoke hyphen web request, that means again I'm making one call to our notification API. So what it should do now is that it should again give the request back, and now that you can see that this new has went. Okay, so the only thing here is that you don't need to probably stop the Visual Studio Code and then make your changes and then again make your application live while the bot is running. You can make the changes to the bot code itself, and then you'll be able to use that. Now that let's say, for example, if you want to do the debugging, so I can just place this breakpoint here, this red icon which you can see here. I just have placed that. Now that I will again go back and make a invoke web request from the PowerShell. So you can see that this one has hit your endpoint. So that means from here we'll be able to go ahead and simply debug the applications. Okay, so if you just want to see like what kind of a data that we have got into this notification template and everything, you'll be able to go ahead and directly maybe you can just add it to the watch, or maybe you can just mouse over on this, and then you will be able to see all the information. So the simple thing here is that you'll be able to step in, step out, all those kind of a thing that we used to do in the Visual Studio as well as Visual Studio Code, and simply you will be able to create this app, deploy this app, as well as test out this app while you are working. Okay, so this is the beauty of using using the Teams toolkit, and then these are the simplest form of using this notification bot. Okay, so with that, let's proceed and have a look at the other types of bots that we can create with Teams toolkit.
So command bot respond to simple command sent in a chats by the end users with the adaptive cards. It also enables users to send a message in Teams and your app can provide a response as required. So some of the advantages are like it automates the simple and repetitive task with a chat command. It also supports the regular expressions for processing commands. So let's see the demo for this open AI command bot.
All right, so now that let us see like the command bots. So command bots are nothing but you can just make a request to that bot by saying some kind of a keyword. It can take it as a command and respond back to you. Okay, so with that, let's get into the demo, like how we'll be able to create that kind of an bot. So let's say now that let me just close out the other things which we don't need. All right. Okay, so now that we just need to go ahead and start creating another app here, which is probably command bot. Okay, so this is a place where I want to go ahead and create the bot. Let me just close out the previous windows. Okay, all right. So I'll just do a code dot to open up the Visual Studio Code so that we'll be able to go ahead, start with this. I'll just click on Teams Toolkit one more time and we'll click on create new app from here as well. And then we are just going to create this command bot. I'm going to use this TypeScript as the language. I will click browse and we will save it to this newly created folder. I will just call it as a OpenAI bot. Okay, so this one sounds more interesting now with OpenAI. Okay, okay. So with this, now that what we are going to do is we are just going to add some kind of an intelligence to our app by using something called as an OpenAI. So, for example, if you are interested to use the OpenAI kind of a thing, so we do have got um, package available from OpenAI onto the npm. So if you can just search out for OpenAI onto the npm.js, so this is the package that we have got open or available to work with OpenAI. So what I will do is I will just go ahead and run this command npm install OpenAI so that it will go ahead and install the OpenAI which we'll be able to use. Okay, so and then again once we use that we'll be able to have all this kind of an configuration, and then we'll be able to get the information back from here. Okay, so with this newly created project, what I'm going to do is probably I will not explain the folder structure one more time. This is more or like the same that we have got with the notification bot. Just that here we'll be able to go ahead and create the command handlers, which is the new thing here. So this command handlers will help you to register a pattern with your Teams FX bot, so that for example someone says to your bot with hello world, this is the code that it is going to run. Okay, so what we're going to do now is that we just need to go ahead and start using something called as an config yes. So in this configuration we do have all of the configurations that we'll be able to go ahead and start using. So what I will do is I will just put one configuration here called as Open AI API key, and this is the API key which I will delete after the session. But okay, so this is the Open AI API key that we have created here. The next thing that we need to do here is that since this is the hello world kind of an command handler, we just need to go ahead and start writing our code into this, which one will run when this bot will invoke, and then we will make a trigger to it with a command of hello world. Okay, so for that what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to use the OpenAI. So Again, for example, if you refer to the documentation, this is the things that we are going to import, like configurations and open AI. So I will just go ahead, import this configuration as well as open AI from this open AI package that we have got. The next thing that we need to do here is that we do have this trigger pattern, which is hello world. If you don't want to use this, if you want to use it something differently, even you can do that one as well. The thing now that what we are going to do is, we will make a, we will write some kind of an keyword to our bot by specifying hello world, and then the that particular information will be passed on to the OpenAI, and OpenAI will respond back with some kind of a message, and that we are going to again display back to our user. Okay, so let's say for example, our user will ask, how much is 2 plus 2. We will send that information to OpenAI, and OpenAI with its brilliance can come up with the answer as 4. Okay, all right. Okay, so even I'm good in maths that way. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to go ahead and use this code itself, which is const configuration and all those kind of thing. Okay, so I will just copy this code as it is, and then we have this API key, which is coming from our configuration, the config file that you just have seen, which we'll be able to go ahead and use from here. So config dot open AI API key. Okay, so this is the open AI API key that we are going to go ahead and use. The next thing that we need to go ahead and do is, now that we will get the message from our users with something called as a message. Okay, so here we have got message dot text. So this is a message dot text that we received from our users. So what we will do is, whenever user will start with hello world, we are going to get the message along with that, and we will just use this message dot text dot replace. We just, we are just going to replace that hello world, which is the keyword, to invoke this command handler, and we will go ahead with the rest of the part. We will send it to the OpenAI. So to do that, to send that request to the OpenAI, obviously we will have to use this completion. So what I will do is, I will again copy paste the same code which is available from that package. So here we have got const completion equals await OpenAI dot create completion, and in the prompt, instead of this hello world, what we are going to use is, we are going to use our message text. Okay, and that's it. So this is the message text that we are going to use. Now that when this particular request will go to OpenAI will respond back to us with the question that we have got into the message text from our users. When we will get that response back, we just need to go ahead and show that respond to our user. Okay, so this is the title. Like, what we can do is, we will just replace that title is, hello from OpenAI, and then in the body, what we are going to do is, we are going to display the information, or display the result that we have got back from the OpenAI, and that result that we have got back from the OpenAI is here. Okay, so no kind of a brain involved here. So I'm just going to remove this entire body which is available here, and we are just going to use this body as the OpenAI.text. That's it. Okay, and then this is the code from where we'll be able to go ahead and send it as an adaptive card. So let me just go ahead and start the debugging session one more time, or local running session one more time. This one will ask me to log in. I will just quickly click on login. Based on, again, the settings that you have for your browsers, it might ask you for multiple times to go ahead and log in. So only thing, like, what can happen now is that, or let me just show you how this particular bot looks like. Okay, so I'm just opening up the readme.md file, and probably we can go into okay, sorry, we can go into the view mode for this. Okay, oops. Okay, so from here, at least you can see that this is how, a small font, but okay. So from here, you can see that this is how the bot will be responded. So for example, when you will say hello world, it is going to go ahead and place the adaptive card for you. So what we have done right now is that we have replaced the default functionality of this bot to send the default adaptive card, and we have integrated some kind of an AI with the open AI kind of an functionalities. So what can happen right now is that, whenever your user will say hello world, and then it will ask some question to your bot. The bot is going to discard this hello world from your user response, and it is going to format that question, send it to the OpenAI. OpenAI will process that information. It will respond back with some kind of an answer, and that is the answer that we are going to display to our users in this kind of an adaptive card. Okay, so this is what we are going to do now. Again, if you're interested to see like what kind of a functionality is being done by this bot, this is the place from where you'll be able to see what it is doing. So right now it is doing the local tunneling and all those things. So all that information you will be able to see from here. So whenever it will ask you for the login, go ahead, do the login, and we should have. Okay, now that you can see that we are at the step number 2 of all of the 5 things that this bot need to do, and right now we are on step number 3, which is setting up the bot. Okay, and yeah, the other things should be done very much quickly. So this one will just go ahead, start all of the tasks that we have got running onto the npm, and then now that the bot should start working. Okay, all right, so now that we have this window wherein the local instance of this bot is running, it will ask me for login to my tenant, which I will do quickly. All right, and again this one will open up the Teams client for in the browser for my tenant, and again this one will give us the option to install that bot. Maybe you can install it into the Teams, you can install it as a chat bot, as a personal bot, or maybe even you can install that onto the Teams meeting. Okay, so what we are going to do is, again we are going to keep it very much simple. We are just going to add it as a personal bot, or one-to-one kind of an interaction with the bot. Okay, so this is again same thing that you can see. I'm just going to click on add so that this one will be added as a personal app for me, and then I will be able to have the interaction with this particular bot. Okay, so all right, let it do. So once this one will add this particular instance here, uh, here you will be able to see that we can go ahead and create some kind of an hello world kind of a thing. So this is the notification handler for your bot, or maybe the command handler for your bot. So for example, previously if you must have observed for the command bot, we didn't have this kind of an option, but now that we have a suggestion that this is a place from where we'll be able to go ahead and have the messaging done with our bot. So I'm just going with hello world, and then I can ask the question like what is 2 plus 2. Okay, a very hard question for the OpenAI. So now that what it can do is it can it should remove everything which is after this hello world, and then oh okay, so the bot encounters some kind of an error 429, that means too many requests. So looks like at this moment I'm not able to make a call to the uh, OpenAI because of the multiple requests being sent 429. But this is how you will be able to go ahead. Maybe let us try it one more time. What is the color of sky? Okay, let us try it one more time. If in case there are not many requests, you'll be able to get that. But okay, so still we are getting 429, that means too many requests. Maybe OpenAI is still means there are many people who are going for this OpenAI request. That's the reason probably we are getting this 429. But this is how simply you will be able to go ahead and start using this kind of functionalities in OpenAI. Now that what I will do is probably I will just open up the previous project that I had created with this command bot, which is this chat GPT bot. Okay, so this particular bot has got two functionalities. First thing is that it can go ahead and uh, work simple as the command text bot. At the same time, secondly, it can also generate some kind of an images. Okay, so for example, if you have seen any of the demos from Gary Trinder, so he was the one who had this idea of generating the images from your bot using the doll e kind of an apis. So the same code running into the background. But just one thing I want to show you here, like let's say now that we know the hello world was the only entry point to our app through which we can start interacting with the bot. But if in case you want to go ahead and add multiple command handlers, what you can do simply is that you can add another file. For example, this echo command handler.ts, this is the one which I have added right now. And then you can simply start implementing that from the Teams FX bot command handler. And that's it. So what it will do now is that it should go ahead, and then you will be able to go ahead and create another entry point for your app. So from there you can use the hello world, as well as even you will be able to use the other things as well. So for that, again, we have got this uh, we have got this manifest templates JSON. So here, oh sorry, not manifest template JSON. Here we have got another file, which is okay, which is um, okay. Let me just check. So okay, so using that file, even we'll be able to go ahead and add some more functionalities to it, so that not just this. Hello world, but again we'll be able to go ahead and invoke other handlers as well. So let me just check. Okay, this one is asking me for adding, so let me just go ahead add that. Meanwhile, let me just directly go ahead and search for the echo command. Okay, let me just do it directly. Okay, so once you do that, the next thing that we need to do is we just need to in the initialize.ts file, which is the initialization for your app. You just need to go ahead and add another handler here, so that the bot will be aware that there are multiple handlers that particular bot can go ahead and handle. So we already had that hello world handler, and now that we also have added something called as echo command handler. Okay, so this is the app. This is how this one will be shown. And now that what we can do is from here, let me just check what was the invoking point for that, for the echo bot. So it was just echo. Okay, so echo, I can just type echo here, and then maybe mm, okay, I'm just typing some random kind of an text, and what it should do. Hopefully, there are no again 429. Okay, so again, we are getting that 400 kind of a thing. But again, for example, if I scroll up, you can see that I was able to generate some images. Probably right now I'm not able to see those images. Maybe demo god is not with me today, but this is how, like, you'll be also able to use DALL-E kind of an APIs, through which you'll be able to go ahead and generate the images as a response to your code as well. Okay, so this is how you'll be able to go ahead and add some kind of an AI capabilities to your bot as well. Okay, so with that, let's see the last type of bot that we can create here, which is a workflow bot.
So a workflow bot allows users to interact with an adaptive card, and the adaptive card's action handler enables the adaptive card to converse in Microsoft Teams app. So you can create a workflow bot in multiple scenarios for your users to enhance the user experience, such as incident management, ticketing, approval workflow, and the project management cards. So you can create and assign a work item with workflow bot and sync the content to Azure DevOps or the Jira system. So some of the advantage you can just take into the consideration. It's like automates the business process and repetitive workflows without leaving the context of the conversations. It also supports the users with sequential workflow through various cards progressively without sending adaptive cards. It provides up to date user specific views. Now let's see a demo for it.
Okay, so this workflow bot is kind of an newly introduced bot with Teams Toolkit, wherein you will be presented with adaptive card. There will be few of the actions that you can take on it. Based on what kind of an action you take, it will go ahead and give you the another set of adaptive cards. So that way you can keep doing it as an workflow. So let's see it in a demo. Probably I will not create the project from the scratch, because you already know how to do it. Just to save the time, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open up the workflow bot which I already had it created. So this is the bot which will help you to go ahead and probably use as the help desk kind of a bot. So what I will do is I will just first run this bot, and while this one is going ahead, start the debugging for us or the local session for us. I will explain the code. Okay. All right, so let me just again come back to the code while it is running into the background. So again, at the top here you can see all of the adaptive cards that we have got, and then again we do have all of the card actions. So in the card action, firstly, we will place the card when someone will go ahead invoke the bot. Let's say in this case we want to go ahead and create a new ticket in help desk. So we will just say that we want to go ahead and create a um, new help desk ticket. So in that case we will use it as a command. Okay, so this is something called as a command. So this is the new command that we have created, which is help desk command handler. So that can be invoked with this trigger pattern called as help desk. So whenever I will write help desk, it will go ahead and reply me back with the adaptive card wherein I will be able to go ahead and create a ticket. So this is the kind of an data that I will be able to fill into that adaptive card. So here we have got title, some kind of an questions like what kind of an category for that adaptive card help desk ticket that we are going to create, whether it is a IT request, incident reporting, what kind of an urgency this one has got, and what is the preferred contact type for the user. And again, we can accept some kind of a short description from the user. And to which adaptive card this one will shown to is so this is the adaptive card this which one will be used, or sorry, this is the adaptive card which will be used when we want to go ahead and present that information to the user. So what the user can do is they can fill out this information as an adaptive card which they can see onto the screen, and then from there, once they submit that, we will have another verb here registered called as help desk ticket raised. And with this verb what we are doing is we are creating a card action. So again, we have created one class here called as help desk ticket raise action handler, and with the verb that we have got from the adaptive card. And once we get this verb, what we are simply doing is that based on the information that we have received on that adaptive card, what kind of an urgency, what kind of a description provided by the user, we are simply creating another adaptive card and sending it back to the user for the confirmation on the ticket that they have created. And for that we are using this JSON file. So here you can see that all of the category value selected by the user, urgency value, contact type and description, all those information we can show it here. Again, if you want to go ahead extend that, you will be also able to go ahead and put more buttons onto it. So here we have got actions, and again we can go ahead add another options like if you want to go ahead edit that help desk card, or if you want to cancel that request, you'll be able to do it from there itself. Okay, so this is the kind of an functionality which is being shown here. Again, for example, if you are not very much aware of adaptive card, so what you can do is oh, it was just asking me. Okay, all right. Okay, so for example, if you are not very much well versed with adaptive cards, so what you can do is you can simply go to this adaptivecards.io website, and that one will give you more idea about what this adaptive card is, and then how you will be able to go ahead and use this adaptive card. So the sample that I'm just referring to, I have taken it from one of the sample here, which is probably the input form. Okay, so this is kind of an form, and all of the JSON that you see onto the screen. So you will be able to go ahead use this directly as a template to start creating your request, and then use that as a JSON. So again, whenever you are creating the JSON, we have got two parts to it for the adaptive cards. First one is the template JSON, which is the placeholder of how you want to show the data, and then we have got a data JSON, which one, which is the actual data that one will be placed into this template JSON, and then you will be able to see a combination of this as an adaptive card on your screen. Okay, so now that we have our bot running, so what we can do is again we are going to add it as a personal bot or personal app here as well. So let it do, and okay, so I'm just going to click on add. This one will get added as the personal bot onto my left hand side, left rail of this Teams application. And from there, we'll be able to go ahead and invoke this help desk bot. Okay. So the invocation point for me now is just by typing something called as a help desk. So I will just go ahead and okay, let me just scroll to the down. And here I can just, oh, this should not be hello world. Okay, let me just start with help desk. Okay. Okay, so if everything goes well, we should be able to see the adaptive card here, which is the response that we have got. So here we can see that in response to my help desk, this one has given me the adaptive card. From here, I can go ahead select the category. For example, IT request, urgency. We can keep it as a medium. Contact type is probably email, and some description, something not working. Okay, that's it. And then we can go ahead and create this adaptive card. So once we will click this button, what it is going to do is, again, it is going to invoke another bot handler, which we have defined in our code, which is this help desk ticket trace action handler. And it is just going to again respond us back with the adaptive card by showing the same information that we have submitted here. Okay, I think I have a debug point here. Let me just pass through those debug points. And yeah, that's it. And now that you can see that this is the information that we got. So we can confirm this help desk ticket, or maybe we can go ahead, edit or cancel. So you will be able to create this kind of a workflow kind of a thing for your users, so that you will start with one card. User will keep taking the actions on top of those card, and then there will be a sequence of flow that will be able to go ahead and do for your users. So this help desk was one of the scenario that you will be able to go ahead and implement with that. All right, so with that, let's come to the last part of our session. Like now that we have created beautiful bots for our organization, but the thing is like how we can go ahead and deploy this bot to Microsoft Azure. So again, with Teams Toolkit, you don't need to worry too much. There is a simple things which are available to you. Probably I'm not going to deploy this bot to Azure because it takes generally 15 to 20 minutes to go ahead. But I just want to make you aware like how you'll be able to go ahead and do it. So first thing, how Microsoft Teams detect, or Teams Toolkit detect where it wants to go ahead and deploy everything. So for that, we have got this templates folder, we have got this app package, we have got all the resources. This is the app package, which one will be deployed onto the Microsoft Teams side, and then we do have got Microsoft Azure side of it, wherein we have this provisioning. So all of the provisioning to Microsoft Azure happens with something called as an biceps. So here you can see that we have this web app bicep, we have a bot service bicep, because at least these are the two resources that one will be needed for the functioning of this app. And then again, we do have this configuration biceps, so wherein we'll be able to configure any of the parameters. We have this main bicep, which we'll call this config biceps and provision biceps. And then this is the entry point for our provision to happen. And then we do have this provision bicep, wherein you will be able to go ahead and see all of the resources which are being provisioned into the Azure. So this is the place from where it can detect which are those resources that it needs to go ahead and provision in Microsoft Azure. So again, if I go back to the Teams toolkit, first thing that we need to do here is that we need to uh, log into the tenant, the Azure tenant that we have got here. Once you do that, here you can see the deployment section, right? So for example, if you see the deployment section here, we have got provision in the cloud, then we have got deploy to the cloud, and then we have publish to teams. So these are the three steps that we need to go ahead and start using. So first thing, provisioning. So provisioning, what it will do, even by the name it suggests that once you will click on provision in the cloud, it is just going to go ahead and provision all of the needed resources in Microsoft Azure. For example, any of the web app, any of the bot registration that it needs to do, this one will do with this provision in the cloud. Again, once you will click on deploy to the cloud, you can just click on deploy. What it is going to do, that all of the code which is running behind your logic, it can go ahead and deploy that code, maybe to your web app, to your bot, or all those kind of a thing. The third thing now is that once everything is ready, you can just click on publish, publish to teams. And then again, you do have a choice, is that you can install it to your organization directly, or maybe you can submit it as a manual Teams app package, which your administrator needs to approve manually, so that your users, all of your organization level users, they will be able to use it. Okay, so these are the three things basically needed to go ahead and start with your deployment. At the same time, if you are looking for the delta kind of an functionality, let's say you just need to zip the package that you will be able to go ahead and use, you can click this option. Or there's a developer portal available. For example, if you want to go ahead, explore that one as well. Even you will be able to customize the look and feel for your application using this developer portal. Okay, but the bottom line here is that this Teams Toolkit will give you all of the functionality through which, without any much knowledge about the development of bots, you will be able to go ahead, simply create the nice looking, nice functionality, simple but powerful kind of an apps. You will be able to debug those locally without installing anything. Even if you don't know how to use the npm, how to use the uh, uh, use the local tunneling, all those kind of a thing, uh, still just rely on to the Teams Toolkit. It will deploy you everything so that you will be able to debug everything manually onto the local. And then once you are happy with your bot, you can simply go ahead and deploy it directly from the Visual Studio Code itself. So I just have shown you like how you will be able to do that with Visual Studio Code. But if in case you are a fan of Visual Studio itself, then the same kind of an extension is also available with Visual Studio 2022. So you can go ahead and explore that one as well. So with that, here are few of the resources if in case you want to get started your journey using Teams Toolkit. If you want to build the bots, or specifically you are looking out for a scenario through which how you'll be able to use, go ahead and use Teams Toolkit for Visual Studio Code. And then again, there is a nice article again from the Gary Tinter. So go ahead and have a look at this article as well. This explains in nice details or and simple instructions how to go ahead and create those kind of workflows, a workflow bot with Teams Toolkit. And again, here are few of the other references. Again, nice videos available from Gary Tinder from Microsoft, like how you can create the notification bot, workflow bot, as well as the command bot. So watch out all those videos for get your journey started with Teams Toolkit for developing bots. All right. So with that, thank you very much for listening to us. Thank you very much for having us, and hope this session must have helped you to go ahead, create your bots, and then we are just looking out for brilliant apps or brilliant bots being developed from your side. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Back to you, Rishmita.
Thank you so much, Nanddeep. Thank you, Smita, for an amazing session. And thank you all for joining us today. Please do watch out all Reactor session on YouTube channel. And also please visit our Microsoft Reactor for more upcoming session. Thank you all and have a wonderful evening ahead.